We don't condone the use of any illegal substance or any illegal activity. This video is intended for instructional and educational purpose only. Watch at your own risk. Viewer discretion is advised.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
In the garden where the green leaves sway, see bunnies rolling up, we light it our way. Mr. Guinness got the bombs, we puffin' all night. Talking cultivation, yeah, we're feeling alright. Light it up, feel the vibe, let it be known. Garden cultivation network, we on the scene. Rolling that green, living out the dream. Chatting about the strains, how to plan it right. Join us every week, yeah, we light up the night. Wednesday to Friday, we keep it alive. Cannabis talks, everybody's feeling high. Sharing secrets of the grow is a sacred art. In this cultivation game, you gotta play your part. Keep it real, keep it tight, watch the plants grow. Garden cultivation network, we on the scene. Rolling that green, living out the dream. Chatting about the strains, how to plan it right. Join us every week, yeah, we light up the night. Yo, yo,
Happy
yo.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. First week
How
back
is it
after the
going?
Christmas break. That's going all right.
hmm
We're getting dumped on with snow right now. We got like a foot and a half of snow since last night.
I don't know what I
So that's
would
pretty
prefer, the
awesome.
snow or the minus 30 that we have been getting.
Yeah, that one's tough
It's a
because
tough one.
snow sucks
My
because then you
card,
gotta shovel it, and the cold sucks because
yeah,
I'm getting old and the cold hurts nowadays. It's not like it used to be. I
yeah.
feel it a lot more now. But yeah. So how's your week been?
That's been good. Looking
Yeah.
forward to Friday.
Yes. And
Then,
speaking of
yeah,
Fridays, we do Show Your Grow on Fridays. So Friday nights at 9 p.m., you can come on up here, show your plants, show your gardens, talk about what you do, ask questions, give tips, whatever you want to do. But it's
yes,
pretty cool seeing everybody's gardens on Friday nights. It's a highlight of my
it
week for sure.
is. And we are Wednesday. So last Wednesday we had Organically Blunt, I believe, Jay Blaze on. So that was
Jay,
a really
yep,
interesting interview.
it was. He's actually a really interesting dude. He had a lot of cool stories, and I'd like to dive a little deeper into him because he's got a lot of cool stories. They don't even have to do with cannabis, a lot of them, but he's an interesting dude.
Yes, and you could find all of our episodes over on Spotify under Garden Cultivation Network. You could also find us over on Instagram under Garden Cultivation Network, Sea Bunny Grows 2, and Mr. Organics.
Yes. Yes, yes. Yeah, so
And our
we're
Discord. We also have a Discord now.
yes, we do. That's brand new. That's been up for what,
Yes.
about a week now? About a week?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Maybe
Still
a little
figuring it
longer than a
out.
week, but yeah, Discord's strange, man. Discord is strange. It looks so simple when you look at it, but there's so much to it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It
But we're having fun with it.
is. Yes. So this week we have a very exciting guest.
We do. We do. We have Mark from Drops of Balance on today. So we are going to learn about water. And as I was telling him in the background, because he is here waiting very patiently for us. Um, as I was telling him in the background, we've never tried this product and I don't know a whole lot about it. So we're going to dive in and he's going to teach us from the bottom till now. He's going to teach us all of it. So if anybody has questions in the chat or anything that you guys want to know about it, feel free to ask, and we will do our best to get those through so that he can answer your questions as well.
Yes,
And
and thank you everyone for joining us. And just a reminder, at 500, we are doing a giveaway.
brand new channel. It's been here since
Yes.
October, so we're climbing. We're getting up there.
Yep.
So at 500, we're going to do a big giveaway, and a thank you to everybody for coming and following us after the last channel that we had, and yeah, moving forward, we're gonna have a good 2025, I think.
I sure think so. And I
I'm
hope
excited.
so.
I'm excited. We got a
Yes,
good lineup of people coming for Wednesdays. I'm
we
excited
do. So
to
that reminds me, next Wednesday, we have the one and only Grambo coming on. So next
yes, we do.
Wednesday is going to be a very interesting um,
Hmm.
interview as well.
It's yeah, Granville's always interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Are you ready to dive in tonight?
Yes, just one last thing. Chunky Nug says that your beard is on point tonight.
Yes. It's getting there.
And we are good to go.
All right, here we go.
Happy
Welcome, welcome.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, guys. Just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to come on the channel and um, share a couple different thoughts with you guys. And also
Absolutely.
start off by saying that out of everything I did in life, I would have never thought my passion would end up settling in on being a water salesman.
Right?
Out of all of it, military, um, black market for 10 plus years, all the extremer lifestyle, and what ended up really grounding me and making me realize that, like, this is, if I spent the rest of my life doing this, I would actually be proud of where I put my energy. I would not feel like I was stolen or something was taken from me. So that
Yeah,
being said,
exactly.
that's where I'd like to start. So
Nice. No, that's good.
yeah.
That's good. So, for anybody in the chat that doesn't know who you are, do you want to give yourself a quick introduction, a little brief description of kind of who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name's Mark Bowell. I'm been mostly affiliated with Perfect Gardens for going on about 15 years. Um, Perfect Gardens is an online gardening hydroponic retail store. From there, Perfect Gardens invested in Drops of Balance and helping to launch it and market it about 12, 13 years ago. Building the relationship with the raw materials and exploring it, understanding how best to use it. And since then, we've developed a few other products from CBD, CBG, a bacterial product called BAM, which stands for Badass Microbes. Just um, kind of ourselves, just looking at the products. I've sold a lot of products in this industry and kind of understanding, like, okay, I think I can make a better product, right? And understanding how everyone else is making a product and really actually creating something different, that where everything has a symbiotic relationship and has a synergistic experience with soil biology and a healthier environment. So that's kind of like what we do. And every couple of years, we'll come out with a new product and we stick with it. So
Nice.
yeah.
So the very first product that you guys came out with was Drops of Balance, I assume?
Was Drops of Balance. Yep, it was. We were at peak of growing in the mushroom farm. So in
Okay.
2012, we got rated. We got rated with the largest indoor grow facility in the state of California before the turn of the market. Um, and we're going through around 10,000 plants every 2 to 3 months. And we were growing on a old mushroom. We were growing on a mushroom farm that was converted from a Japanese concentration camp in the 1950s. So the
Oh,
piping
wow.
hadn't been updated in 70 years,
I
right?
was gonna say for a long, long
Forever.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Very long time. And as we were watering I mean, we went through every possible problem you could imagine that you wouldn't want to go through when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars and potentially years of your life that could be taken away from you. We ran into every problem that you do not want to run into, right? On a commercial level. And one of the things that really was the big, like, once we fixed it, everything started falling into place, right? And we ended up build. I mean, this was before you even had stealth grow RO systems, and all they made was the RO 100. I remember
Right.
when they made the RO 200, it was a big deal, and it still had a 3-to-1 or a 3-to-1 water to waste ratio, right? So
Yeah.
we with our commercial facility, we had to build our own RO system that had to filter, I mean, multiple stages of heavy metals because of all the corrosion from the pipes, right? So it wasn't just, and we had to go through these multiple layers of filtration because it was so bad that once we just to get clean water, right? And once we got clean water, we were able to start to grow the plants. But one thing that really, and throughout a major grow operation, you're always trying to slim the fat, right? So if you see a waste and you're spending a shitload of money, or you're just seeing the problem, you try to mitigate the problem if you're being responsible in some level. And we went through this whole process to clean water, but the amount of water that was coming out and we were wasting just to get that clean water never felt good to me, right?
Right.
And that's really what is the origin of this story. 12 years ago, on the creation of Drops of Balance, was being able to find a softer, more gentler way of cleaning water, and keeping the health of the water,
Yeah.
and not having to build these thousands, and I mean, $5,000, $10,000 elaborate water systems that only give you dead empty water. And that's the origin story. That's where it all started, because we were going through it ourselves on a higher level. And that was the big thing. We solved our water problem. All the plants started growing a lot healthier. From there, I started to really look and understand more about what the understanding of water and science behind it in general.
Okay. So the drops of balance. So you would use drops of balance in place of like an RO system?
Yes.
Is that what you
So
like a go ahead.
yeah, exactly. Oh, no. Well, there's two exactly. So you can use now tap water, well water, city water, rainwater, and drops of balance will remove, um, as of right now, over 250 plus man-made contaminants, VOCs, heavy metals. These variety toxins, what they do is they actually impede the 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 other stuff we want the plants to uptake. It impedes them from actually being taken up by the plant, and because our cannabis plants are bioaccumulators, and so they're actually more attracted to heavy metals and toxins to take those up more than they are actually the fertilizer that's in the bottles. It's really interesting. So the really, and they store all these heavy metals actually in the trichome. So when we smoke them, we're smoking heavy metals, right? So
Right.
we're creating our own problems. So and these are things we didn't fully understand 12 years ago. These are us through right now close to writing almost $100,000 in lab analysis testing, understanding what drops of balance is doing, and then understanding how drops of balance is locking up the heavy metals in the soil, so the plants can never even take them up, because it makes these heavy metals and these toxins, it removes them from being water soluble. So if they're not water soluble, the plant can't take them up at all.
Right. That was going to be my next question. How does it do this? But you just kind of answered that right there. So beautiful.
It
Nice.
also beyond just removing the drops of balance, because I'm removing the heavy metals, and you'll see, the heavy metals actually precipitate out of the water within a 24 to 48 hour period if the water is at room temperature. If the if the water is like warmer, I'm talking that if the water is warmer, you'll see this reaction happen quicker. Um, this is for what I'm discussing. This is for drinking water. For plants, we discovered that plants needed at a fifth of the concentration that human beings needed for drinking. So it's at a very small ratio, but you'll still see the same um, reaction to the water. A lot of people will report back to me when they have like a 100-gallon reservoir. Once it empties out, they'll see all the yellow stuff at the bottom. It's a little slower. So drops of balance, it just doesn't clean the water, but it also has properties like hydrogen peroxide. So when you put the minerals in water, it actually activates oxygen. So it will increase the oxygen carrying capabilities and the oxygen percentage in the water itself, because it's literally creating oxygen in the water because it's constantly dissolving it.
Okay.
So drops bonds has multiple properties, from cleaning water to oxygenating water, and then also when it's going through the process to clean the water, the what ends up getting left behind is ionic sulfated trace minerals, and the ionic sulfated trace minerals end up being the coenzyme to the relationship to bacteria. And so
Okay.
when you have the coenzyme and the bacteria then produces the enzyme. And the enzyme is what we want. That's what we're all going after. Enzymes is
Yeah.
what leads to cannabinoids, terpenes, and everything in the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I specifically on purpose give my plants enzymes and microbes, and most of us do here. So I mean, that's a pretty cool thing. Nice. So when you were saying that it helps oxygenate the water, is that like would it be like equivalent to putting air stones in your water? So if you had
So
like a reservoir and you put drops of balance in there, not only is it going to clean your water, but it also oxygenates the water as well. Holy mo, that's a tough word to say.
say that 3 times right while being high.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't even say it once.
the what it so just to describe the comparison difference, we're talking about 100-fold difference from air stones to what drops balance does in oxygen.
Okay.
And what I always like to tell people with the air bubbles is, when you put the air stone in the water, what happens to the oxygen?
It goes to the top, to the bubbles, and then it escapes.
It goes to
It
the
really
top.
it's off gassing basically is what's
It's off
happening.
gassing. It's going away. The air stones are complete. It's complete scam. Everyone should literally just throw out their air stones and stop using their air pumps, because air pumps just lead to, if they it always drains the reservoir. So at some point, the air stone, because of siphoning, it unplugs, and if anyone knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Point is that we want water, we want the oxygen to be dissolved in the water, so the water is holding on to the oxygen, right? That's
Gotcha.
when the plants can use it. The air bubbles don't do anything for you. It's just increases your electricity bill, and it's another thing that you're purchasing, that it's
Okay.
unnecessary. And then you have to clean it, and then the air stones hold on to bacteria, various forms of bacteria. So normally, is the leading cause to most waterborne pathogens in your hydroponic systems. So
So it's almost like what's the word? Emulsification almost. It's like you're creating like pockets within the water to hold the oxygen so it's not off gassing the oxygen.
I love words that better describe what we're searching for. Emulsification. We're looking for absorption, right? Dissolving, right, of oxygen. We're looking for
Yeah.
a you know, yeah, it's very small particulates is what we're describing. Tiny, tiny, tiny molecules.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the whole reason why I thought of like the emulsification was because say you're taking oil and water, you're trying to
Emulsify it.
mix the two together, you can't, right? So emulsification, you create little tiny air bubbles within that molecules to hold on to it. So
Well, you bring up a
we got
very
it.
interesting topic right there between between water and oil, right? That is actually what the bacteria do. The bacteria solubilize the oil or the acids and make them water soluble. That's what their job does.
Okay.
It's the bacteria are the emulsifiers of 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 the whole chemistry in our soil biology.
Yes, I think I understand it now. So yeah, we got most of the people here are growers and smokers and stuff like that. So I try to break it down a little bit so that it's we all understand it. So
Well, why should we give a shit about this stuff, right? Like, how does this stuff actually relate to things in our life on a daily basis? Like, how can we
yeah,
use this to to have a healthier life, to heal our kids when they're sick, um, to uh, fixed stinky garbage disposal stuff when it backs up, septic problems. Like, how do we use all this information in our daily life to so that our life is not stressful, but it is creating solutions that allows us to live a healthier life, right? So that's what we try to do. That's why we need to make a connection to our community and let them know, hey, this is how we
exactly.
use this stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There was a question there was a question earlier from you just reminded me because you just posted Kind Buds. And I think it was Kind Buds that asked the question earlier. It's probably way up there now. But the gist of the question was um he uses Alaskan fish fertilizer, which
Yeah, that was way at the top.
he was he was asking if that's safe to use because it has high mercury levels, I believe.
I just made a video today actually about fish shit versus fish hydrolysate, right? Because they're one is fish shit, we actually get fish shit, but it's probably also other fish byproducts from fish dying and stuff like that that gets accumulated, and
Yeah.
they use bacteria to break it down. So fish shit and fish hydrolysate, I think I'm saying it right, are that basically the exact same thing. But the issue with fish is the heavy metals that get accumulated. And I say this in the video. I'm like, literally, we know of fish that we should not eat because the amount of mercury that gets taken up into it. 100%. We also know that I think like we've reported like 2 to 5 growers have died of back guano, right? I don't know if
Recently.
you guys recently, right? So
Like in
Yes.
the last couple weeks, I think this came out too, like within
Yeah.
yeah, 2 weeks, I think it came out. So
and
yeah, very,
so
very recent.
people are having you we can call these a variety of different things, but they're allergic reactions basically from these heavy metals that get accumulated in our bloodstream, accumulated in we're using we're growing indoors with poorly circulated environments, and these bacteria and toxins have, you know, they break things down. They decompose meat, right? We are meat, right? So they
Yeah.
if they get in us, they're going to keep doing their job. That's why the products I make too are like I try to make sure I understand what the bacterias are actually are in are the bottles in these packages, because they're selling, a lot of people sell bacterias for that, these bacterias have very specific functions, right? But these bacterias also are used in other industries to do other things, right? So so we're using them, let's say, to specifically break down phosphorus, or specifically break down nitrogen, or specifically break down this or whatever. And but they have these other functions in the industrial uses. So we're and then we open up the bag, we smell it, we inhale it, right? And these bacteria now mix with water, and that's what they need to start to do their job. And now they're in our system. I've known guys that go blind, um, because the bacteria in these bags.
Yeah.
It was one guy about 10 years
Mm.
ago used to work for REI, I think, and he went blind in one eye because of the bacteria that went in his
Crazy.
eye. So
That's crazy. And how many times, like most of the time I'm an organic grower. I try to grow as organic as I can, and I know that's kind of an iffy topic depending on what kind of water you're using and you know what I mean. So, um, but when you're doing like dry amendments and stuff like that, how many times have we all probably mixed our nutrients with no mask, no type of face covering? You know, you got your fans blowing around your room that you forgot to turn off, and then you go to dump your amendments into your plants, and all of a sudden it's just a big puff of cloud of nutrients in
yeah.
the air, and you're breathing that in, and whoever else in your house is in there as well. They're breathing that in
hmm
somewhere down the line, you know. So mask, fans off.
You hit it
So
on the dot. It's for in all industries, all new industries, first comes experimentation, then comes litigation, then comes regulation,
yeah,
right? So we're moving through the experimentation phase. All these various things of benefits are happening, right? New products are happening, but we're starting to also now over time accumulation of these things are starting to accumulate, and then as they accumulate, toxins begin to develop, right? And now we're starting to have these things, people are dying, and now the next part of regulation is going to come out, right? Where they're going to require more permits or licensing or more education to the consumer base before they purchase the product. And if you go into the ag industry, a lot of the products that you buy in the hydroponic industry, they can't sell you in the ag industry without a license,
right,
right? So we're in the whole like black market world, even in the hydroponic level, that we don't even realize it, that we're operating in that world. We're just going there, buy
yeah.
a product, no big deal. And I remember selling Azamax, right? And I got fined $15,000 because I wasn't allowed to sell that product without a license, but the wholesalers are allowed to sell it to the retailers, but the retailers are the ones that are required to have the license before they sell it to the consumer.
Like,
So
yeah, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. But I mean, it all comes down to this, right? Money in the end. They want you to
yeah.
buy the license, which is going to cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. And you know, living in Canada, we've kind of almost realized that we're almost in that like black market area because getting nutrients in Canada, it's tough.
hmm
There's a lot of things like I use a lot of Hygrozyme, for instance. They're a Canadian company. Their factory is in Canada, and they came out with a microbial product. They couldn't even release it in Canada because
No.
of licensing and all this other stuff that they had to do. They were able to release it in the US first until all their other licensing and everything had gone through before they were actually allowed to sell it in the country that it was made in. It makes no
And a
Yeah,
lot of
sense.
it is just packaging.
packaging, the words
Wording.
on the
Yeah.
package, wording. Yep,
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
people own those words, and they do not want you to use them unless they're gaining their cut.
That's right. And it's so crazy. Do you guys ever
Yeah.
have any issues with that? Like when it comes to like being allowed in the US or Australia or Canada or just in different parts of the globe?
When developing our label, I had to be very clever um, through the process, like anyone else, and I had to really ask myself, what sword or what mountain was I going to die on or fight for, right? Am I going to fight for the being? Because Well, now see, now as you see, I'm changing my language. I'm not using the name drops balance, but I'm talking now about trace minerals, right? So I'm now changing my
Right.
language. So I'm not talking that drops of balance does these things. I'm saying, hey, science has proven that when you have specific trace minerals, it is actually a pesticide, right? It's even a fungicide if you have the right type of trace minerals. That's why they've learned that if you use small amounts of molasses, right, as a foliar, I think like once a year, and I think it's the soybean industry or something, it wipes out a shitload of pesticides or a shitload of insects. And what I've come to discover is the molasses, it through the manufacturing process, because it's very oozy, right? It holds on to a lot of its minerals, right? So the soil at that time is depleted. So when they foliar spray basically trace minerals, ends up the plants are able to produce the enzymes that produces the its natural immune system. And we actually have proof on this with our 2023 field study report. It was a $30,000 field study report we completed with a 120 plant grow in Oklahoma. We had the controlled group. We had a group that was given drops of balance at 1 ml per gallon, and then drops of balance given at 5 mLs per gallon one time, initially to treat the soil, then only at 1 mLs per gallon. And what we had come to discover that the cannabis plants that were given the drops of balance in both versus the controlled group, they produced more terpenes that fought off mold, right? And in Oklahoma during that time, 60% of the control group was got botrytis, and only like less than like 3% of the groups that were given drops of balance had bud rot. That was detectable at all at any level. And then when you compared it to the terpenes, and this was um, Harley Smith. He reviewed the white papers, and he realized that when he was reviewing the terpenes, he realized that the cannabis plants produce more of one specific terpene known to be an antifungal
Hmm.
than the control group.
Interesting.
Exactly, right. So
So
the
it's
plants.
actually causing the plant to use its own natural defense
Mhm.
to fight these things off without, so something that it might not have actually used is helping it actually like bring more of that out of the plant.
The trace minerals in the bacteria are able to produce the enzymes needed to actually produce its defense, its immune system, its
Wow.
defense system. And that's why using the molasses, in my theories, why they've discovered using molasses once as a foliar on a specific commercial crop, it acts as an insecticide.
So would that be similar to like using like a chitosan?
A what?
Because that's kind of like chitosan or chitosan. I'm not
Oh,
exactly sure
chitizen.
how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is from crabs, and it's from
Yeah.
crab shell, if I remember straight, and it's
Yep.
and that it's that is that product when the enzymes that come off of that product from bacteria. So when bacteria eat that product, it produces enzymes that are known to increase the natural resistance of the plants. I think it's a natural pesticide or fungicide or something like that. Can't remember specifically, but yes,
Yeah.
that you hit it on the dot. And
So
because
it's similar anyways. It's
well, it's
in my
exactly
head
the
when you were
same.
explaining that it's doing the same thing. Yeah.
Because okay, because let's think about it, right? So that's coming from the crab shell. Crab shell probably has a lot of calcium, I'm guessing. It probably has a lot of other specific trace minerals that's been accumulated in that specific part of that animal, that when it's broken down, it jacks up the minimum law of tolerance laws, and then it allows for more of a specific enzyme to be produced.
Interesting. That's cool. That's really
That
cool. So
is,
if I was a
yeah.
brand new grower and I'm having problems with my water and blah blah blah, I'm sorry. I'm not having issues with my water. I'm having issues and I don't know what my problem is. I'm brand new. And somehow I stumbled across your product and I came to you and I started asking questions. What would you like how would you try to sell me that product? What would be like your number one thing that just makes me believe I gotta buy this. I have to try this because this is gonna be my fix all solution. How would you kind of? Because like I said,
To
coming into this, I know a lot more about it now after listening to you. But coming into this, I didn't really know a lot about the product, so that's why I'm kind of
I'm gonna
asking.
answer your question, right? I'm gonna answer your question, but in like 1 or 2 minutes. I'm gonna let you know
Sure.
most people come to us after they've tried everything else, and they
Right.
don't even look at water as being a problem because, and I think that the main reason why that is because, have you ever heard of the boiling frog syndrome?
It sounds familiar.
Mm.
If you put if a they say that if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll immediately jump out, but if you put it in cold water and slowly heat it up, it'll cook itself to death. That's
Right.
what I think what we experience with water. We use it every day. We experience it in our showers, our drinking, our Kool-Aid, our Coca-Cola, our watering our plants. It is something that's so passive in our lives that we just don't really think about it. You know, if we mix it with Coca-Cola, we never say, man, that water made that Coca-Cola taste shitty. No, we said, no, there wasn't enough syrup in there, right? So we blame it on
That's so
everything
true.
else
Yeah.
but the water. So
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's normally the last thing that they come to beyond that. But if a brand new grower, if I had the opportunity to actually get connected with the grower before he did absolutely anything, I would say before you invest in all these other things that have a better marketing plan than the Drops Balance company, just treat your water first with 1 ml per gallon. It is hands down the cheapest thing and is will only enhance everything else you try. It will only enhance that. It will only make whatever else you put in that water and whatever else the water use or whatever other things that the plant that the plant uses in relationship to water will make it better. So what is that? Photosynthesis, chemical reactions, um,
Yep.
everything. So VPD, all of it. It will
Everything.
only make all of it better. So before you go buy a better light, before you go buy a different nutrient line, before you go buy more fertilizer, more pots, before you go buy another tent or expand your grow room, just treat your water with 1 ml per gallon. You
Oh,
know, I mean,
I didn't mean to.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
and that's it. I would just say do that before you do anything else.
Yeah.
I promise in the long term, it will save you time, energy, money, frustration, and it is such a simple thing you can do um, that you're going to circle back around. I promise you will circle back around to your water at some point, whether before you buy all that other stuff
Yeah.
or after.
Okay. Nice. So, how does drops of balance affect pH?
So if you're using distilled water or RO water, you will see a dramatic shift in pH with using drops balance really quickly. If you're using tap water, you won't see a shift in your pH per se, but you're going to see a dramatic stabilization in your pH after you adjust it back below 7. So like, for example, let's say you adjust your pH below 7 usually, and then it rises back above 7. More often than not, that'll never happen again, right? But if you put just drops balance in tap water, it's not going to affect your pH really. But in RO water, it will. But that's because RO water is sensitive to everything.
Right, RO water basically comes out neutral to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and then it begins to quickly absorb CO2 from the environment, and it goes alkaline.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I had another question, and then I got distracted by everything going on around me that I forgot what I was gonna say.
Water is a
All of a
lot
sudden, I
more
had, like, a
interesting.
it is, actually, and I never like you said earlier, I can't remember if it was I think it was right at the very beginning of the show, like, I never realized that I would be so interested in water, soil, any of that stuff. Like I said earlier, 20 years ago, if somebody asked me if I was gonna spend most of my time talking to people about plants, I would have laughed at them. I never would have thought 20 years ago that I'd be sitting here right now talking about plants, and I do this twice a week. C Buddy and I, we come up here twice a week. Fridays we do like 2 to 3 hour show where we just talk to people about plants. Home growers come on, they show their plants. We talk about the problems that they've had. We talk about problems we've had, and we come up with solutions, and it's just like the community comes together and we talk about plants. I never would have pictured myself sitting here talking about water, soil, plants, any of that. Back in the day, I thought, "Oh, you garden? Oh, well, that's wow." You think you're such a cool guy, but you garden, but now I love gardening. I love doing this shit. I love learning about water. And I think you were saying earlier too, like science and biology, like it was not interesting in high school, but now I wish I had have picked up every bit of information I could have back in the day.
The What we learn in school is theoretical, right? And when like in the campus industry, I'm just going to give credit to where it's due, and the campus industry kind of collectively brought all these other things I've learned into a centralized point and allowed me to understand and see how all these things connect. So right, so in the cannabis industry, if you just start off in cannabis and just do the basics, you're going to learn about watering, growing, light cycles and the basics, right? But if you really get into it and you spend more time, because like I'll give you an example. The first time I ever jumped out of a plane, the only thing I remember is my butt sliding off um, the edge of the plane, right? And then I'm on the ground. And then 150 to 200 jumps later, after going into the military, I'm like falling asleep as we fly up, and I would jump out of the plane, and I remember everything from sunsets, and the skydives are like 5 minutes long now, and you're mining even for only 60 seconds. Point of this is same thing. You go through the growing, and the first grow is very fast, and you don't pick up a lot. But then the next grow is a little slower. The next grow is a little slower, and before you know it, you have so much time because of your processes being efficient that you have all this inventory now that you're like, what do you do with it? Now you start to look into product creation, right? And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna start to create other products, and then you're like, okay, the first thing is I learned to make butter. Well, now you're learning about cooking. You're learning about
Right.
boiling points. You're learning about, like, you're borrowing your wife's materials, and she's like, why are you using my crock pot? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
oh, like, what? You've never used this. I always make the beans, and you're stealing my shit
Yep.
now, right? and
Yep.
and then if you want to, you are like, honey, I want to get more technical, right? So then you start getting the fancy contraptions, and now you're getting into distillation, and then now you've learned about distillation and product creation and marketing and doing all these things because you're a manufacturer of a raw material, and you're having to do all these things to sell your product, to make it more easily consumable to the end consumer. Then you're 7, 8 years into this, and you watch a history channel or a discovery channel or something about a petrochemical distillation, and then you realize instantly how to make kerosene, and how to make gasoline, and how to make um, um, propane, and how they do all these things on an industrial level. And other people had to go to school for 12 years to go get a job in the oil industry, but you got high for 7 years making your products, and now you can get into the oil industry because you understand how
Yeah.
it works, right?
Yeah.
And before you know it, you start to create a whole sector of worlds begin to expand in your mind, and you begin to become a more collective, healthier human being. So
Yeah. I'm laughing because everything that you just said is something that I've gone through already. Like, I got into growing. I learned how to grow. I grew synthetically, and then I went down the wormhole of organics and soil, and I learned about that. Not that I know everything about it, because I definitely don't. I know about probably that much compared to what the information actually is, but
Yeah.
and I got into now I have all this extra product, extra trim, extra this. What do I do with it? Okay, well, I'm gonna learn to make butter. I'm gonna learn to make coconut oil, and I'm gonna learn how to make. Okay, well, now I want to make gummies. Well, how do I make water and oil stick? Well, then
hmm
emulsification comes in, and then I learn about that and different binders and um like wetting agents
absolutely.
for soil, which is again is like, it's emulsification, it's a binder, it's to hold the moisture in there. So it's like so many things that you don't necessarily think this is going to help me with this, but because I learned how to make edibles, I knew about the emulsification when you were talking about it today. You didn't say that, but in my head, that's what made
You made
sense,
the
So
connection.
it all comes
Yeah.
together really as you're kind of going. But yeah, that's funny. So yeah, I used the crock pot. I went out and bought what is it, the Instapot. I bought one of those, and then I got into like the magic butter machine, but it's Infusium 420. Then I got into making RSO. I haven't done the pressing and the hatch and all that stuff yet, but I mean, I'm sure that'll be here soon enough. But yeah, it's just
Absolutely.
funny how you were saying that. I'm literally going through that over the last like 6, 7 years of growing. So
The evolution of
it's
this
funny.
industry, and probably if you haven't already, because you're getting the gummies, you're probably when you go to the store, you're probably turning the gummies around and looking at what's in those packages more nowadays, and you're wondering, and you look at that and you're like, oh, I know how they did this. Oh, why are they using that product? I wonder what that is, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if I can use that for my product, and then before you know it, you're learning trade secrets that they
Or
that they are.
how can I make this product but use something better than like carnauba wax? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like there's a lot of stuff in candy and gummies that like, as a grower, I think a lot of the times we're actually learning how to be healthier ourselves without even realizing it.
Absolutely.
Like I laugh all the time and say like our plants eat way healthier than I do.
Oh, then
Yeah.
us. Oh, 100%.
You know,
100%.
so a lot of times as well as you're growing and you're learning about these healthier ways of growing or different versions, I'll say, you're also incorporating that into your daily life. Now you know about
Mhm.
nutrients. So now oh, this one's not safe. Is that on my food? So now you're looking into that type. Like it just there's so many different directions that you end up going that I've gone because of growing cannabis. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's like, what? Why did they put that in here? Like, red dye 40? What the?
Right.
What is that? Like, why? Like, and then you go and you look at it and you're like, you find something instantly better, and you're like, why don't they just put this in here? And then the conspiracies start in your
Doesn't
mind.
that red dye it comes from like bugs, I believe.
It's yes, it is from a beetle, if I remember straight. Actually,
Yeah.
you're right. It's and um, but I guess the point just the funny part is the conspiracy and the paranoia starts to set in, and you don't know whether that's the weed or whether you just start to see the lies and the bullshit, and you're like, am I paranoid or am I just reading it for
Just
what it fucking is?
Exactly. Am I finally reading between the lines here, or am
Mm-hmm.
I like, or am I the crazy one? Yeah, no, that's so true. Very, very true. Oh, that's funny. But yeah. So you guys have the drops of balance, which we've spent most of the night talking about. Um, what other types
Then
of
we,
products do you guys have? Because I remember you were saying that you do have other products.
yeah, so there's another one called BAM. BAM stands for Badass Microbes. Um,
Right.
Bam, you know. So, anyways, that was the
Bam.
kind of well, it came from actually the Batman, the '70s Batman, where they just pow, bam,
Oh
right?
yeah.
You know. So,
Yeah.
um, anyways, the I love, still do love the EM1 Terraganics product, right?
Okay.
And the and after using it, digesting it, drinking it, all of it now for 4 years, my natural curiosity kind of got around it, and as I reverse engineered the product, there were things about the product that I was like, well, that doesn't really make sense. And the biggest thing that um, for me was there's multiple things you could do to make bacteria shelf stable, right? And you can use a high sugar content, or you could change the pH and drop the pH. They were using they use apple cider vinegar to drop the pH of their product to make their product shelf stable. And I was like, oh, that's the weakness in this product, right? And I realized that we could use the raw materials from drops of balance at a very low concentration to drop the pH. And because the raw materials drops of balance is sulfate minerals, when you combine it with the manufacturing process of making the lactobacillus bacteria, it makes not just a stronger bacteria, but it makes it explode much more exponentially. Um, and then when you use the product and you put it into water and you raise the pH and activate the bacteria again, they are in a cesspool of sulfated minerals, even if you're not using the drops of balance product. Um, because the because the issue with using just a bacteria product with tap water is the chlorine inactivates the bacteria. So you have to keep treating the tap water so that your bacteria don't go dormant or aren't killed, right? So that's the
Right.
relationship between still using drops of balance with BAM, though there's enough drops of balance in there in the manufacturing of the bacteria to actually um, protect those bacteria in almost any environmental conditions.
Okay.
And it helps treat the heavy metals, gives the bacteria actually a chance to thrive versus just being eradicated right out of the bottle because you're mixing it with bad water. Um, and so we use the raw materials to drop the pH, and it basically it becomes this like this elixir color, and it's beautiful. And so that's how we make the BAM. It's just we use a different way of changing the pH, and we use a product that has a symbiotic relationship with bacteria versus just using a pH down product like the EM1. So then that's that. And then also I would have to say we probably have the best full spectrum water extracted heavy metal remediated CBD CBG products. Um,
Mm.
they a close friend of mine, I'm actually been recording her health problems for almost 2 years now, and with the CBD, and also you need a little bit of THCA to activate the CBD at a ratio at around 350 milligrams a day with a little touch of THCA. We've been able to get her grand mal seizures from having a 1 grand mal seizure a week, being incapacitated for 3 or 4 days out of the week, to her now having a seizure maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks, and her recovery
Wow,
time, instead of it being 3 days, her recovery time could be as short as 20 minutes at times.
that's amazing.
So a full seizure, and then
Yeah.
she can come out of it. But other times she loses her ability to speak uh, still, and might take time. But her recovery process through the seizures and to wake back up through them, she can become almost fully functioning within about 20 minutes at different variations. So, um,
It's
you
amazing.
know, yeah, like so
Hmm.
I love the CBD, love the CBG products. They have their tools for people that are, because the plant's a medicine. It's a full spectrum. It's water extracted. The bacterial product, BAM, it's made differently. It's a lot of thought has been put into the evolution of that product, and then same the drops balance. And so all these products have been in my life now for um Drops Balance, so we're going on almost 15 years. The BAM,
Congrats.
that's the newest one. BAM, it was BAM's just an evolution of EM1. That product's been around in my life for 5-6 years. The EM1 BAM for 1 year. That brand came out last year, and then the CBG's been in my life for about 4 or 5 years. So point is I don't have a lot of products. Oh, and
Yep.
Organic Shield. It's not mine, but that one's been in my life for almost 4 years. I don't have a lot of products. Don't sell a lot of products, but the
Yep.
ones I do sell, they have so many various uses that they're able to just simplify your life as a grower, and you get
Right.
a better product overall. So that was my issue within the hydroponic stores when I worked there, is I didn't like all the bottles I had to sell, right? So
Right.
I always was like, how do I reduce this to the fewest products that someone could use? Kiss, keep it simple, right?
Yep.
And from there, they can get any NPK base nutrient, um, and these few products will clean plants, kill the bugs or mold safely without hurting you. Everything's safe. It's just everything's safe. Nothing.
You can actually drink, like, you can treat your drinking water
Oh,
with Drops of Balance.
yeah, that's actually how it was originally created to for
Yeah.
you drinking water. So you can actually drink the raw materials. I don't recommend it, but you can drink up to 2 ounces of it, and and it'd be safe. So Organic Shield, you can
Crazy.
drink it. Don't recommend it. Um,
Yeah.
CBD, I take almost 650 milligrams of the CBD and a day, and because the brain scans from my friend that has the traumatic brain injuries, the seizures. We've been doing brain scans on her for almost 4 consecutive years, almost, and we've been able to see her brain that's been hyper blue, hyper red, meaning hyperactive or almost dead, and the normal is green. And we've been able to get her brain from going from like almost all of it being blue and red to all of it being almost a green again in almost 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
So and so that's the power. I believe that's the power of healthy gut biology, healthy immune system. You're
Yep.
jacking up the the specific components to heal the body in a certain way. So um
Absolutely.
yeah, I need products that I can scientifically back it up with evidence and be like, listen, guys, I spent
Yeah.
my money because I didn't fucking believe it. I wake up every day waiting for these products to not work, and they're still working.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the skeptic. Okay. I am the skeptic. I am the non believer. Right. So if I'm the guy
Yeah.
that's like telling you to try it, it's because
Because the
I,
product is spoke for itself.
over and over and over in my life, to the point where now I feel like I'm obligated in some level, like a spiritual in some spiritual level, like life has said, Mark, I want you to help people drink healthy clean water.
Yeah. I think it's super cool, and I
Hmm.
can't uh, I can't wait to start using it. I'm definitely gonna give it a shot, and I can't wait to try it. So um,
I'll ship you guys out a
yeah,
couple bottles. Those
sweet,
10 days. 10 days, you'll notice it.
absolutely, yeah. I think it's gonna be cool. So I'm gonna be moving in a couple months and I'll be setting up my new grow. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a shot because everything that you've said today has it's made sense to me. So I hope it made sense to
Yeah,
everybody in the chat. And yeah, we've come up to the hour, which has happened really, really
I
quickly.
know.
So
Can,
Yes.
can
um,
I leave you with one thing?
sure.
Oh, for sure.
Um, have you guys ever heard of alchemy?
Hmm.
You know, and we know it as these people changing lead to gold, right? And that never really sat well with me, right? If you have these incredibly highly intelligent people, why would they want to turn? Why would they want to lug around some heavy ass product when they can get, you know, it just made no sense to me. Gold's heavy. These people made no sense to me, but it would make more sense to me if they were had the ability to turn something dirty into something clean, have the ability to turn dirty, unhealthy environment into a healthy environment, like from dirty water to clean water. And I think really the power of alchemy of what that search was for was the elixir of life. And I genuinely think the elixir of life is healthy, clean, mineralized water.
Absolutely. Nice.
Yes.
Beautiful. So do you want to let everybody know where they can find you, where they can buy your products?
Yeah, over at perfectgardens.com, if you go over to Drops of Balance, put in PG10 for a discount code. And But you could go to perfectgardens.com, and that's where we'll have the CBD and CBG products, the BAM
Yeah.
and the Drops of Balance, and I will ship you guys out some of these products, and just tell me what you
Sweet.
think.
Exciting.
Tell me what you
I
think.
will do. I will for sure. Yeah, no, that's exciting because like I said, like I try to grow as organic as I can, but I mean like you can really only be as organic as your water. And when you're running tap water that's full of chlorine and full of this and full of that, it's hard to be
Hmm.
Yeah.
100% organic. Even if you're using
Yeah.
100% organic products, it's still almost impossible to be 100% organic when you're using tap water. So
It's
I'm
a believe it or
excited.
not, the one of the hardest chemicals that they've found to remove out of municipal tap water is birth control. Believe it or not. Um,
Really?
yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Your plants are taking up birth control. I know that I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm trying to be really
Yeah,
serious. It's the molecules go right through the filtration process. I didn't learn this. I had no idea about this stuff until I learned about filtration, right? And I realized, wow,
right.
that's the RO systems are that's another fraudulent industry, you know. So I just understand our water's dirty. Even your RO water is dirty. We just don't we just don't realize it.
Yeah. Crazy. All right, brother. We appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on tonight, and I think
Yes.
we'll definitely have to do this again because I think there's a lot that we didn't get into. I think there's a lot more that we could get into, but we are at the hour, so
Okay.
we're gonna call her quits
Text.
for tonight. But we appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you,
Yes.
brother.
Thank you
Text me your
so
address.
much.
I will do.
Thank you
Thank you
for
very
having me
much.
here.
Absolutely. You're welcome back anytime.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Have a good night.
Have a great night.
Awesome. That was
I
cool.
am freezing.
Freezing.
Yeah, my internet's being dumb right now.
Oh, your internet's freezing. Yes. All right. Well,
Yeah. But
we
yeah,
won't
that
keep
was an
everybody.
amazing show.
He's very, very knowledgeable. There's a lot of information in that head of his.
Very much.
And he was pulling info out of my head that I didn't
So
even realize I had until I started spitting it. So, so yes. What were you gonna say?
yeah. Just that we will see you all on Friday.
Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Come show your grow. At 500 subscribers, giveaway.
Yeah,
All right, peace out.
it's going to be exciting.